It's been kind of crazy how weeks have been going by lately. We're going to show you lots of pictures. There's a lot to kind of go over. Barbara and I have done presentations for Crossing Borders many times, and it's always a challenge to figure out how to fit a whole week and a half worth of material into just a 20-25-minute discussion and wrap up. And we've learned how not to do it. We don't want to give you the details of every day and the just kind of say, and then we did this, and then we did that, because then it becomes like a vacation slideshow. Anyone ever invite you over to their home and say, oh, you want to see pictures from our vacation? And it's just like, oh, looks like you had a great time. And, whew, an hour's worth of slides. Wow, that's great. Oh, another picture of the beach. That's fantastic. Yeah, I bet you had a great time. Yeah, okay. 2 hours. All right. Yeah, that's wow, thanks for showing us the pictures. We got to get going now. So anyway, that's what we don't want to do with our Crossing Borders trips. We really want to keep it interesting. And it's always fascinating to see God at work. And I think that's what we do as a congregation. We pray and we listen for what God is saying to us in terms of what he's doing. And it's amazing what he does in the lives of our campers and the lives of the folks that we work with, and what he's doing in Mexico with the church there. So Barbara actually does a much better job in presenting all of that. So I'm going to turn it over to her. She'll go through how many slides do you have? Do we even want to talk about it?
I've kept it under 4 hours for sure.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Okay. All right. So she's got lots of pictures, and she'll tell you some stories, and then I'll just have a couple of comments at the end. But go ahead.
All right. So, yeah, that's the biggest. It's so challenging because I thought this time, I was like, no, I've got it down this time. It's not going to take me this long. I can summarize. And then I get into all the pictures and the slides and the memories, and it's like, yeah, I don't have it summarized down. So, but I will do my best, I promise. So just a quick review. This is where we are, and this is where we go. Right down at the border, straight south on 35. Right at the border at Laredo and Nuevo Laredo. So we spend the nights in the U.S. in Laredo, and then we go across the bridge every day into Mexico. So here's our team of 20. This was the largest Crossing Borders team we've had since 2008. So it was a great group, 20 people, and lots of younger people on this trip, which we haven't had for a while. So this is really encouraging. There were quite a few teenagers and quite a few 20-somethings on this trip. And then Michaela, so she kind of, skews the average down there, being 10. So, but that was great. As I've mentioned before, we're always very serious. We don't have any fun whatsoever. So as you can see here, we're just, all serious, all business. So the summer trip is 8 days, and we call it a summer sampler camp. In the winter, we go down with the shoebox gifts that we pack, and we're just there for the weekend. But in the summer, we do a lot of different things. We visit with a church that meets in the park in Laredo. We do homeless ministry and feedings. We did vacation Bible school at 4 different places this time. We visited a retirement home, which was new for us. We've not actually done that before. 3 different children's homes. One of those was also new. There's the family that we built a home for in 2012, and we always go see them. And then we do other dinners and meals and things with our ministry partners there, because we believe it's all about relationships. And so we try to do things that are quality time with people. So that's a quick summary of what we do. So I'm going to go back through and hit on just a few of the things and give you a little more idea of what we do at the different places. So this is Church in the Park, which happens every Sunday in downtown Laredo. And it's literally what it sounds like. Everybody comes to this park that's right downtown. They just come and sit on the walls and things around the park, and a church service goes on, and it's in Spanish and in English. So there's always a translator that's talking, and it's just kind of whatever happens. They don't seem to have a whole lot of structure to their service. They just kind of go with the flow. And so we like to provide some songs. Usually we do some worship. We have songs with motions that everybody gets into. They're kids' songs, but everybody enjoys them. So we do those all over the place. And then after the service is over, there's always a meal that's provided there in the park. So it's just, it's really an interesting experience, and they just say that they're always encouraged just by the fact that we show up, to know that we're there to encourage them. We're out doing ministry as well, so they don't feel like they're on an island there. So it's a good warm-up. It's a good start for us on the first Sunday that we're there to go to church in the park. So I mentioned we did a retirement home this time in Mexico, and this is actually the first time that we've ever been here. This was a state-run like nursing home retirement community, and I'll be honest, I was a little scared going into it because I'm thinking, well, not all nursing homes here are fantastic, and I'm thinking this is state-run in Mexico, and I was like, I didn't know what to expect, but honestly, it was really nice. They were well taken care of. It was clean. The mayor's wife showed up, and they took us on a tour, showed us around the place, and then we got to visit with the residents there. And as you can see, it's very well lit. There's lots of natural light. It was really nice. It was really a nice place to visit, good place for our team to connect with people. We had made some little necklaces and had some bracelets, so we were passing those out, and everybody wanted one or two or three or four. So it was neat, but it was just a really great connection spot for us and a good place for us to build more relationships, and it was a good connection there with the city and the mayor's wife. And you can see one of our girls here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these little purses, but they're made out of candy wrappers. And so this guy there was making them, and he was teaching one of the girls on our team how to make these little purses out of candy wrappers. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, he was teaching her how to fold them just so. And so anyway, it was a really neat new place for us to visit, and I was very impressed with the state-run home there. So I mentioned also we do Vacation Bible School. So we did Vacation Bible School at 2 different churches, at 2 people's homes, and at 1 of the children's homes. And so Vacation Bible School, you can see them all lined up in this church as we're getting ready to start. So they're all sitting there waiting for us to get going. But it consists of 4 stations. So there's a Bible study station where they have a lesson about God and his love. Then there's a game station, which often takes place out in the middle of the street. There's an arts and crafts station, so we had them making little beaded crosses. And then there's a song station where they learn the songs with emotions. So they break up into groups, and then they go around to the different stations and do the different activities. And it's pretty easy in a church. You can usually kind of send people off to different corners. You know, we'll set up a table. We got crafts over here. We got the Bible study over here. And, you can send the music out somewhere else. But we did something different this time where we went to 2 people's homes and actually did the Vacation Bible School. So this is what you show up to. So you show up to somebody's house. You see it's a little tiny house, just basically made of plywood and dirt. So your first mission when you get there is to figure out where you're going to set up all of the different stations. It's like, so where do we have enough even space that we can set up a craft table? And where do we have enough space that we can do songs? So we get some pop-up tents and some tables and chairs from the church and put them all together. Thank you. And so you just make it work. You find here's a spot, we can set this up over here, set up a tent, do the songs underneath the tent for some shade, and you just make it work. But we've never actually done Vacation Bible School at somebody's home before. But one of the pastors that we work with said, we'd like for it to be more personal. We want you to actually go to somebody's house and actually let them be a part of it, let them participate by actually hosting it. So that was a new experience for us. Here's another one of the homes that we went to. Again, basically the same thing, a dirt yard with chickens running around and hens and roosters and everything. And, you shoo them out and set up your tables. And then find a tree with some shade and do the songs under the tree. So you just make do. It's just really funny to just set up and work with what you have and make it work. And then in the meantime, while we're doing Vacation Bible School at all of these places, there are ladies that are in the kitchen that are cooking for us. So they insist on hosting us and serving us a meal afterwards. So it's 106, and then these ladies are over a fire, over a stove, and they're cooking a meal for us. And it's amazing to watch because, we go in to serve, of course, that's our goal, and yet they want to do a meal for us, and they want to serve us. And there was one of the families that received a donation just before we got there to just kind of help them make ends meet, and they said, now, don't spend it on lunch when the team comes in. And what did they do? But they took the money and they spent it to make lunch for when we came in. And then I wanted to share this picture because you guys know we had an umbrella collection here at church. And so a lot of the ladies at the different vacation Bible schools that were cooking and doing things for us, we were able to give them an umbrella so that they would have something to use for shade for, walking to the store or walking to the church or wherever they're going. And when it's 106, a little bit of shade makes a lot of difference. So. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about Salt and Light Ministries. This is Ray and Lisa Rendon. You guys have probably remember us talking about them. They're a couple of our ministry partners there. Lisa's from North Carolina. She married Ray, who's a Mexican, and she lives there full-time as a wife of a pastor there now in mission work. And so we try to always throw her a birthday party and do something special for her, because they just don't have a lot living the lifestyle that they do. They don't have a whole lot. So we try to throw a party for her. And then these are 2 of their 3 boys. And I just thought this photo was hilarious because, you got to love it when you're trying to get your photo taken with Kylo Ren and you get photobombed by Superman. I mean, what can you do? But 2 of their little boys, so they're pretty funny. But this is the area where they have their church, which is basically out in the bushes in the dirt in the middle of nowhere pretty much. But this picture you guys may remember from last year because Crossing Borders built this shelter for them last year so that they would have a place to meet, at least have a little bit of shade there where they have their church growing. So we built this last summer. Well, in the meantime, this past year, they have gotten more funding. So this is their new structure that they have started building. So it's always neat every 6 months when we go back to see the progress on the churches, to see what they've done, to see additions or a roof or whatever. It's always neat to see their churches growing. So as you can see in the picture, they still have a little shelter that we built underneath the new big one. So they were keeping it for shade until they could get more of the new larger structure built. So part of our team actually went in and tore down the structure that we built last year. So all of that material was being repurposed, and our guys went in and took down our building from last year. And then because of donations given to Crossing Borders, we were actually able to donate a portion of the floor cement. So that you can kind of see the new section back there was donated by Crossing Borders. So. And then Lee wanted to make sure we got our name in lights there, or at least in cement anyway. So he carved Crossing Borders initials in the cement. But anyway, it's just neat to see them grow, to see things happening, and then to be able to participate, contribute to to what they're doing as part of Crossing Borders. So then I also mentioned children's homes. That's probably one of our favorite things. It's probably what rings most true to most of our team. And so we do different things at different ones. We always play with the kids. The girls like to do nails. They love to paint their own. They love to paint everybody else's. So they love to paint the boys' nails. So if they can pin you down, they will paint your nails. But just playing with them and hanging out with them. So at this particular home, they actually needed some new benches to go under this gazebo that's on their playground. And so someone from our team had the idea, well, why don't we build the benches, but we let the kids help? So that was a huge hit because the kids got to be involved in something that they don't normally get to do. And then it's something, obviously, that they get to keep and have there at the home where they live. So the kids are having a big time helping with, drilling and screwing things in and nailing and whatever. But you see the little boy in orange there? He's got the camera. He's taking pictures. And then you'll see him again here down at the end. See, he's taking pictures of everybody working. And then there he is looking at the pictures that he's taken with somebody else's camera. So the kids love pictures, and they love to see themselves, and they love to take a camera and run off and take a bunch of pictures with it. So I just thought it was cute that he's like taking the shots, and then he's going over and looking at the pictures that he took. But here they are painting the benches that they made, and there's their finished product. So it's kind of neat that they get to participate and get to learn something new. I mean, who's going to teach them to be carpenters? So. And then this is a new children's home that we visited. This is another state-run facility, which we had not been to before. And again, I certainly had my concerns going in about what what it was going to be like. But again, another very nice facility, very well taken care of. The kids seem very well cared for there. So we did the Vacation Bible School with these kids. They were actually older kids, mostly teenagers. This boy, his name is Samuel, and he was 11, and he had 3 of his close family members, including his mother and aunt, that were all killed in front of him. So these kids and the stories and the things that you hear about them, it's just amazing. And the other children's home, somebody was telling me that the kids obviously they don't have good homes if they have somewhere to go, but so many of them come from a background of abuse, and it takes them a little while to warm up to us when we get there, because they have to learn that they can trust us and that we're okay. I don't know. All I know was they were killed. I didn't hear. He asked if it was drug cartel related. I don't know. So then these little kids were outside the children's home. They were hanging out with the security guard when we went to leave. And I asked him, I said, "Are they your kids?" And he said, "No, they're just neighborhood kids. They live in that house, and that house, and that house." And so I had a little bag of things with me that people from HCF had donated, little whistles and stickers and stuff. And so I ran and grabbed my bag and started passing out whistles and little rings and things. And the kids were so excited to get these little toys that just thrilled them to no end. I'm sure their parents were happy that I gave them whistles too. So. And then this is a third children's home that we visited, and this one we do a big fiesta day with them. So we have all kinds of games and prizes, and this is the big water balloon and water gun fight that was going on. We teach them the songs, and then there's Michaela doing face painting with them. And then here they're playing the Mexican version of bingo. And so what we did was, when they won a round of bingo, you guys will remember we collected kids' toys and prizes and things here. So we put all the prizes, all the toys and things that you guys had given, we put them out on the table. And then when they won a round of bingo, they got to go over and choose what they wanted as a prize. So you can see them there picking out toys and games and things that you guys had donated for them. They had a big time, like shopping at the table for what they wanted. It's important decisions here, you know. And then at the end, we have a big piñata full of candy, and they go and, beat on the piñata and have a good time with that too. And there may be little fake mustaches and sunglasses involved as well, so you can see them there. The kids love sunglasses too. That's a favorite. And then finally, this is the family that we built a house for 4 years ago now. And it's just become part of the Crossing Borders tradition and part of our family that we go and spend an afternoon with them doing something fun. So we took them to a park that was not far from their house. And it was actually like a water park, like the water where it shoots up out of the sidewalk. So our oldest adults were the first ones into the water park. And so you can see everybody it was so hot. We were like, and then we dried in no time at all. So you can see everybody had a big time in the water fountain. But it was nice because then there was like shaded area where we could all have a picnic together and hang out. And there was a big soccer field where they played soccer. And this is what happens when it's 106 and you play soccer. But then these photos I wanted to share because these are also photos of gifts that were given by you guys. Because we collected also like some ladies' gifts, different lotions and things like that you all brought in. And so we gave a whole bunch of different bags to different pastors' wives and ministry partners and people that we work with there. So we had these huge bags full of great gifts for them with all kinds of stuff. So here you can see this was like a little Tupperware set that had gifts inside and a note on top. And you can see Mary's translating. She's reading the note to Adalia there. So that's one of the gifts that were on the table back there. And a lot of this stuff, I don't even know where it came from. You guys know if you brought it or who you are, but there she is with a bunch of dish towels. These aprons, they showed up back there. We gave it to a lot of the women that were cooking in the kitchen and this kind of thing. So there she is with her apron. And then her with like a little manicure set that somebody had put together and shampoo and lotion. So this is how you guys are touching the lives of people there that you've never met, that they don't know you, you don't know them, but you're being a blessing to their lives there. And so I just, that just kind of brings me to the whole Crossing Borders team. And this is what we do. And this, Jesus says that they'll recognize you because of the love that you have for each other. I think that's the most amazing thing about Crossing Borders is that we don't see each other all year. We see each other once every 6 months. Our planning team, we plan everything via phone and email and teleconferencing. So we don't see each other. A lot of the people that show up for the team, they've never even met each other until we show up there. But God brings this unity to the team. It's like this perfect blend of gifts and talents. And it's just amazing to see it come together. So while, we might be doing Vacation Bible School, there's somebody else who's talented at carpentry that's over like securing stairs that are really rickety and falling apart. And we might be playing with the kids, but somebody else is over like spraying the mosquitoes and taking care of something at a children's home. And, it's just amazing to watch God bring all of the gifts together and everybody there's no way you could plan it. You couldn't say, okay, we need 3 carpenters, we need 4 people good at Vacation Bible School. It would never come together, but yet God brings this amazing team together. And then he also gifts you guys with the ability to bring in gifts and do things for people too that you've never met. So I think it's amazing to watch the great tapestry that God weaves and how he brings all of the pieces and parts together. Yes, sir.
I hope this won't be too much pressure on you, but some of us wrote specific letters to people. Could you name the folks in the photograph?
Oh, yes, I can. So what Doc is referring to is that we do, you guys received the email, we do like an adoption of all of the missionaries. So somebody in the U.S. has adopted all 20 of the people here so that you have somebody that's specifically praying for you while you're on the trip. And then partway through the trip, about the middle of the week, you guys have all written, whoever's participating has written letters, and those letters are passed out. Huge encouragement to people, so I appreciate you bringing that up, that people really, really enjoy that. It's a nice surprise, and it's nice to know, wow, somebody is praying for me while I'm out here in the mission field. So yes, to go through the folks, so we've got Lee Berger, he's the director on the far left. He's the director of Crossing Borders. We've got Steve Adams next to him from Oklahoma. There's Michaela down in the front. I think you guys know her. There's Karen Edelbach. She was one of our camp hosts. So she stayed at camp all week, and she cooked all of the meals and prepared everything for us. Next to her is Christopher from Alaska. Pedro, next to him, he's been on all the Crossing Borders mission trips. He's a transportation coordinator, so he's a huge part of Crossing Borders. Next to him is Jillian. Jillian's from California. She's one of the GCI interns currently. Then in the back, there's Jen, and next to her is Kiana. She's from Atlanta, and she actually went on the winter trip and loved it and wanted to go back this year. Next to her is another girl from her congregation, that's Katie. Next to her is Eric. Eric is one of our planning team members from Missouri. Next to him is Susan, she's from Alaska, and next to her is her husband Terrence. So, it's like these people from Alaska, they go and they act like it's nothing. I'm thinking, you guys gotta be melting down here, Next to Terrence is Roberta. She's been going on Crossing Borders trips for several years now. She's from Colorado. I don't know who the guy next to her is. Next to him is Mary. Mary's been going for about 4 years, summer and winter. She's been on a lot of the trips. She speaks Spanish pretty well, so she's a great translator for us. In the back is Jerome Ellard. He's the pastor in Big Sandy. I don't know if any of you guys have met him. And then next to him is his wife, Helen. And Helen and her sister Karen were the 2 camp hosts that cooked all the meals and did our laundry and everything for us while we were there. And then the last girl on the end there is Jaden, and she and Kiana on the far right, they're sisters. So it was her first mission trip. So that's everybody. So some of you may recognize the names if you've adopted one of them. So any other questions? You
I was just wondering about,
Yes, yes.
I just wondered what that's like in terms of the reputation.
The reputation is bad, and there are days that aren't good there. It's improved a lot since Steve and I started going in 2010. I can tell you, I have much less qualms about being there now than I did in 10, 11, 12. Some of our friends there, our ministry partners, say there are days that they get the call that they're told, just stay inside today. There's something going down, just stay inside, don't go out. And then after a couple of days, it passes. So we've never seen anything, we've never experienced anything. We're also, we work based on what our ministry partners tell us. If they say don't go here, then we don't go there. And we're also not like at nightclubs at midnight in downtown Laredo either. So we've never experienced anything, always feel safe and secure. So, yeah.
Was the food as good this year as last year?
Oh, our time is about up. I'm going to. For those of you that don't know, Lavelle was one of our camp hosts last year, so she's trying to bat me in the corner about the food. And then, who knows who might see the video, so lest I say anything on either side, yeah. The food was good both years. And that's the truth. It was good both years. Yeah. Ryan.
You mentioned that there were a couple of people that spoke Spanish from the group here.
Yes.
Were there many English speakers that were there, and how was the translation? How did things work out?
There's not many English speakers. More when we go to like the church in the park that's in Laredo, there are more there that speak English. But for the most part, no. It's just, we have a handful of translators that we work with, and the rest you just do through motions and sign language and, put this over here and that over there. And the kids don't care. They just want to play. So they're just grateful for the attention. So it works out. It works. It all comes together.
The homeless shelter that you visited last year, did you stop by there at all? To see that the facilities improved for them or anything like that?
You're talking about the one where the deportees stay? Is that? We did not go there this year. Yeah, we did not go this summer. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
How's Lee's health? How do you manage with this trip?
He's good. He did. Yeah, he did great. He got a. In fact, he was doing so well. He was playing soccer at 106 out on the soccer field that you saw, but until he got kicked in the shin, quite severely. So he has a blood clot in a big leg, and so yeah, you guys can pray for Lee's leg since he got But he was good until he got kicked in the shin.
What's the date for the winter trip?
It's December 12th, 12th through the 14th, somewhere in there. Yeah, whatever week. It's the Friday to Monday of the second weekend in December. All right. Did you good? See, I kept it under 4 hours.
You did. That's great. Stick around. I want you to. Can you use the laser pointer and point out to a couple people for me?
Yes.
Uh,
Which one is it? This one?
yeah.
Okay.
So we always like to bring the experience back home, and what Barbara and I were talking about with this trip that was so interesting is that after going on many trips, people ask, was it still fun? Is it still enjoyable? And it's interesting because for us, on the planning side, it's a very different trip than it was when we went the first couple times, like just kind of as passengers sort of, or as campers. So we get to kind of keep in mind what different people are good at, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of help to shepherd the team, so to speak, so that our different strengths play into a whole team that works well. And it's really funny throughout the course of that week and a half, seeing how different people fit in really well. Like Mary, who's up there next to me, she amazes me because she's such a spark plug socially. You know, like she will just run into a group of people who speak Spanish only. And since she's fluent, she was married from someone from South America, I think. But she is so fluent, and she's fearless when it comes to people. I mean, she'll just strike up a conversation with somebody in a parking lot, and then they'll become her best friend. But she is just so gifted with that kind of encouragement, and it's part of her personality to just kind of reach out to people like that. And she's so genuine. And then on the other hand, I was trying to think of different, you know, we've been going through the fruits of the Spirit and different gifts, spiritual gifts, and I'm thinking about Mary, and it's like, boy, she's got a lot, because I would say that she also has a gift of intercession, because every time something came up, she was like, oh, can we pray for them? And I was thinking, well, of course, you know, we pray for everybody all the time, you know, but like she wanted to make it an event where we all pray together for somebody. And so constantly she would be that kind of reminder when anything came up, you know, if when Lee bumped his leg, you know, it's like, let's pray for Lee. And so it was constantly just that kind of a reminder there. And Terrence in the back there, he's got such an aptitude and a heart for working with wood and carpentry. I mean, that's what he does by trade, but it's like he probably has sawdust in his blood, you know? And I mean, it's just, that sounds like a serious medical condition, but I mean, it's just like, he loves the smell of it, he loves the feel of the wood, and so when we get somewhere, when he sees a need, I mean, he just goes right at it. And so at one point we were doing this vacation Bible school for the kids, and he just got out all his tools and started working on this rickety wooden staircase they had that was supposed to be temporary years ago, and it's still there, but it's one of those things where you shake it and the whole thing moves, and you've got kids and adults going up and down all the time. So he gets out his screws, his deck screws, and his driver, and he just goes to work, and that thing, you could have landed a plane on it by the time he was finished. But I mean, it's just like he's got such a heart for that. And then yet on the other side, he's got this real heart for the kids. I mean, every kid he meets, he just grabs them up in a big bear hug, or he'll throw them up in the air and catch them, and they just love him to death. So he's got those wonderful attributes to him. And his wife, Susan, is so good with encouraging. And if anything happens to our folks, then she will just be right there with an encouraging word, or try to, pick them up if they're down or something. Pedro down there on the bottom, that, like Barbara said, he's been our transportation coordinator, but he also has this kind of protective instinct for our group, and that's kind of rubbed off on me too, where, we know where we are. I mean, yes, it really is pretty safe, but I mean, when you're in these two twin Laredo cities, both Nuevo Laredo and Laredo, U.S., there's dangers, and so sometimes there's going to be cartel people driving by or walking by, and so we try to keep an eye out for that kind of thing. And Pedro's, one of those people who will constantly kind of be watching the periphery, and then when I notice that he's busy doing something, then I start watching the periphery, and we've got like sergeant at arms, or just like security people kind of watching around. Not that it's so needed, but I guess it makes us feel better. But he's really good too at coordinating all of that. With Karin and with Helen being our camp hosts, with that kind of encouragement and service and just the willing to help us and kind of be behind the scenes, because when you come back home after a day of ministry, it would be nice to have an actual meal instead of crackers and chips and little stuff. So they're tremendously helpful. And Barbara and Lee are both really gifted with administration. I mean, they can see details and see around corners and plan in advance in ways that I only wish I could. So it's amazing how the different parts of the team fit together like a real puzzle. And Barbara and I have talked about for the past couple of years how it's our vision to see that kind of dynamic, that kind of synergy and teamwork and love, be present in congregations here in the U.S. and right here at HCF, because it's amazing, what sharing bathrooms and Mexican heat can do to people to bond them, So, I mean, I don't suggest that we all live together in a commune, but I mean, just by serving together and kind of matching our gifts, it's amazing the kind of family that you get, and it's amazing what you can accomplish as a team, as a congregation. And I've learned that so much on this trip. I mean, there were times where I was exhausted at the end of the day. And then there was still more socializing to do. There were birthday parties, there was cake for people, and I was just wiped out, you know. But fortunately, other people are just, you know, that, oh, good, more people, cake, celebration, and that just charged them up. And so instead of, you know, just kind of berating myself for not being that way, I realized, you know what, we've all got certain roles to fill, and I have to stop looking at my weaknesses and forgetting my strengths. And I say that because I want you to do that as well, in terms of if there are things that you see in others that you wish you were that way, well, there's probably a reason you're not that way, but you're really good somewhere else that they're not. And in that sense, I think every congregation has people placed by Christ, by God, to really minister to whatever needs there are in that particular neighborhood, in that particular area. So let's keep that in mind. I really want us to be working better as a team, and as we go through this series, figuring out, okay, what are my strengths? What am I not so good at that I can let someone else do? What kind of experiences do I have? All of that stuff all just fits together, so we get a really strong team together. And that's, you know, what we see over and over again. That's just miraculous, literally miraculous on these teams, on these mission trips. And we want to see that in our congregations too. So that's all I want to do to wrap up. Any other questions before we go? All right. Well, thanks for listening to our vacation slideshow, and I appreciate all your attention, and we'll continue with worship now.